Hi, this is Victor Chang with Bookmercial Productions, and today I'd like to talk to you about marketing and pre-selling your company's products and services through books. It's an area of marketing that I've sort of developed an expertise around. I'm the inventor of the Bookmercial, and I have produced countless bookmercials on behalf of corporate clients. And what I want to do is give you some, I don't know, it's an orientation, I guess, really around how to use this medium of books as a marketing tool. And I think all of us are familiar with books, but not all of us are familiar with using books as a marketing tool. And so there are a couple sort of the basics I want to sort of share with you today and sort of get you oriented with how to take advantage of this new medium. I'll tell you sort of the things you should do and things you should avoid, and explain sort of when's the right time to use a book as a marketing tool as opposed to, I don't know, direct mail or some other form of sales and marketing. A book is most useful, I would say, sort of early on in the sales process, at two different points in particular. When you're first making contact with new prospects, either you are or your staff is, and you're trying to separate yourself out from the crowd, right? It's a crowded market, it's very cluttered, lots of noise out there, prospects are very confused. They don't know who to take seriously. So when you're the author of a book and you sort of publish the definitive guide, if you would, to learning the basics in your industry, that's a very useful tool and reference for prospects. And that immediately elevates you and sort of by sort of the halo effect, your company. It helps you develop the perception that you're the industry experts that people to go to learn about what to buy, which is a very advantageous position to have, mind you. And so the book is very useful for establishing credibility up front. And it's also sort of useful, I would say, probably in the middle of the sales process when a prospect sort of has been introduced to your company, they have some level of awareness of what you guys do, and they're sort of deciding, is this something I want to buy from you, or is this something that's appropriate for my company, my situation? And a bookmercial is very useful for that. So marketing through books and marketing products and services through books is very useful for that. Because what you can do is you can sort of explain things in detail. When you're doing a telemarketing phone call over 5 minutes, it's very hard to get your entire message across. If you're sending a direct mail piece, it's hard to sort of explain complicated, very sophisticated topics in just a few pages. Certainly you should try, you certainly should do it, you should take advantage of those mediums, but there comes a time when prospects have a lot of questions. They don't always want to engage with a salesperson because, frankly, we were sort of, been burned a little bit by salespeople. They tend to waste our time, right? That's sort of the perception. And yet people still want to learn. Your prospects still want to learn, make a smart decision. So what do? They need some sort of research, and a book, providing a book to them, or a bookmercial in this case, is a very useful tool. It sort of lays out the basics, helps them understand their situation and their problem extremely well, and it helps sell them on the idea of making an investment in a solution, any solution to solve a particular problem. You have to remember, if people don't buy into solving a problem, they're not going to buy your product or service. Right? It's like the person doesn't realize they have a headache. They're not going to buy aspirin, no matter how much aspirin you have, no matter if you sell it in a small bottle, big bottle, you sell it on discount, you have a premium price version of aspirin. If they don't think they have a headache, or they don't realize it's a very severe headache or life-threatening headache, as an example, they're not going to buy. And so the purpose of a book early in the sales process is to help introduce them, to help them understand their problems better, understand their options, understand the consequences of ignoring their problems, of procrastinating, and all those things help sort of generate demand in the marketplace. And what you also want to do, in addition to just sort of educating prospects, on behalf of your industry, which, your industry association and your competitors would probably appreciate very much, you want to be sure to explain and lead prospects to understanding why they ought to buy from your company in particular, right? And you don't want to do a sort of overtly say, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, because, that lacks credibility. It's sort of just, I don't know, just seems in very poor taste. What you want to do is sort of demonstrate your expertise, demonstrate your value, occasionally use examples and case studies of your own products and services to illustrate a teaching point when you're trying to make a point about a particular issue or that your prospects should be concerned about. And those are sort of very subtle ways of doing it. Good tips for marketing and pre-selling products and services through books. Again, really educate very thoroughly prospects on the problem. So that definitely goes and belongs in the book. And you also want to sort of explain the various categories of solutions, right? So if there are certain solutions that are geared towards small companies versus big companies, you want to explain that. If there are sort of low-end products versus high-end products, you want to explain, what do customers get when they go to the high end? Is it faster? Is it better? Is it quicker? Is it higher quality? Is it more reliable? Like, what are you getting when you sort of spend more money? You lay out all the basics. It's a very, very useful tool. Back many years ago, I used to be sort of a professional corporate buyer, spending millions of dollars a year on behalf of my company, where I was employed at the time. And I had a golden rule. I would meet salespeople all day long, right? And frankly, you get sick of them, to be honest. And it's sort of a funny thing since I do some sales these days, because they end up wasting a lot of your time, right? And one of the challenges with salespeople is, understanding, what's real versus what's not, and putting that information in a book is a simple way to sort of give credibility to your sales staff, and it sort of paves the way to the entire sales process. And one of the golden rules I always had was, if something sounded really good, I would not buy it. I would not buy something until I found the flaws, right? Until I found the things that were wrong with it. And once I decided that it was okay with the flaws, then I would buy. And I figured if there was something that looked perfect, that means I didn't do my homework enough, because nothing's perfect, right? There's always a flaw somewhere. And virtually every service and every product has a disadvantage. For every pro, there's a con. And I would never buy anything until I understood the cons, because I knew I probably didn't do my homework. And so that's why providing a book to your prospects is a very useful tool. You can outline all the pros and the cons. Certainly that's something I do for my own company. I found it useful for our clients, and something I highly encourage you to do. Hope these tips have been helpful to you. If you'd like to learn more, certainly go online to visit us at www.bookmercial.com. If you found these videos useful, you can find more videos similar to these at www.bookmercial.com/videos. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks, and have a great day.